Hey everybody, today I'm going to give you guys an update on the Ashavas Grizzly Rage build. Been working a lot, so I haven't had an insane amount of time to play. But, that being said, I am now up to the point where I do have T4 unlocked. I'm not like just turbo farming it yet because I do need to farm a little bit more gear. I'm lacking like aspects and stuff, but the build did turn out to be as good as I thought it was going to be. If you watched all the way through to the end of my Ashavas Grizzly Rage video, I gave a little bit of summary towards the end of the video where I said, hey, look, I don't think it's going to be like an S tier build, but it's definitely going to be an A tier build at minimum, and it definitely is. I would say that, because most A tier builds, it's, if how they're kind of categorized in my mind would be like, they do a lot of damage, but there's some type of fundamental issue with them that kind of stops them. So Wolf Companion Druid is a good example of an A tier build where it's like, it does a lot of damage, but it lacks cleave damage, so that's what keeps it out of S tier to where it can't be as good as Lightning Spear Sork, because, Lightning Spear Sork or something like that, or Cataclysm Druid, you just kind of press one button and you delete your whole screen, right? Like, it doesn't matter if, like, Companion Druid has better bossing, because for the most part, you're not bossing, right? We're not really in a situation with content, or I guess with pit stuff like that where you need like a bosser and like a trash clear, kind of similar where D3 is. It's not really a thing yet. Maybe it could be a thing in the future. I don't know. But that being said, the build is still pretty good. You can see here I'm doing a T50 for reference. A T4 is T55, so I'm doing well above T3 and I'm crushing it, but I'm missing a few things on my aspects. So for example, my rabbit aspect is 205 out of 240. My shepherd's aspect is only 15% out of 19.5%. So you can see, and I know that seems like a small amount on the shepherds, but if you look at how many companions I have out, it adds up pretty quickly. I'm also only using 3 glyphs in this video. I do have 2, or I want to say I have 2 glyphs that I'm using at legendary status now. I farmed them up to where they're at least 46. But again, and then I think at the end of this video I actually get my 3rd glyph that I'm using, but I'm still missing 2 glyphs. I don't even have all my glyph slots yet, so I have a lot of damage kind of being left on the table still, which is a very good thing actually, because it means that if I'm already doing T50s this easily, well, that would mean it's very logical to be like, well, once I get that stuff, I could definitely be doing T4 pretty easily, at the very least base T4, but I think this build will be able to do higher than T4. I don't know how much higher it's going to go because it's all going to depend. One of the issues with the build is that you kind of need to have enough damage to just wreck everything. Otherwise, you can drop Grizzly Rage, and then it can feel a little awkward, right? Not only that, defense seems to be the bigger issue with this build as opposed to offense. So I am surviving here, and once you get your Nagu rune and you have all these spirit wolves up all the time, everything's going to be frozen a lot, so you'll notice your defense is up a lot. But we don't have access to a lot of the werebear defense stuff with this build. So what I'm thinking as the solution is I'm going to end up running like Tyrael's Might or something on the chest piece. Then I'm going to move Spirit Bond aspect to the helmet, and I think I might just drop Debilitating Roar altogether, because I don't particularly have a good way of reducing the cooldown, because like if I put on like Harlequin Crest or something like that, well, the issue with that is I get 8 ranks of Poison Creeper, and I also have to get rid of a Poison Creeper duration. Now, plus 30% Poison Creeper duration actually matters a lot in this build, because the way Ashavas works is for every 1% life poisoned, it does 10% more damage. So if I have, if I get rid of, a poison creeper duration thing, right? Well, that means that's going to be a couple percent less of, life poisoned whenever I poison creeper, which means Ashavas is going to do less damage, and it kind of has a snowball effect. And because defense is kind of a bigger issue for me right now, I think it would be better if I'm going to have to drop a Poison Creeper duration, probably the chest piece, because I'm not going to lose any damage, and it'll be a trade-off of, okay, I am going to lose the Poison Creeper duration, blah, 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 but I'm not going to lose the ranks to Poison Creeper like I would on my helmet, so it's not going to be as big of a hit, and it'll be a massive defense gain. So once I get Tyrael's Might, I think that's going to be when T4 gets a heck of a lot easier. It's also going to make, you know, it a lot easier to get defensive stuff. So that's definitely something. It's definitely something to think about. But yeah, this build's, it's crushing. It's doing good. It's doing, like I said, exactly as good as I thought. It's a solid A tier build. It'll let you do T4. You just got to kind of keep working on. I will say this. Another change that I am working on is I actually dropped from the build planner, and I'm going to actually go and update the build planner. So like what I'm currently thinking is best will always be reflected in there, even if I haven't made a video on it. So I am going to go update that actually, and it might be live. The changes might be live before I post this video, but we'll see. But I want to put Grizzly Rage duration on the weapon because I'm trying to find a way to make Grizzly Rage last a little bit longer, and that was really the only way to do it, because we don't need Rampaging Werebeast. We take a pretty big DPS loss or damage loss by putting that on. You know, we want to be using things like Changeling's Debt, and anything that can boost our poison damage, or like, you know, Stampede, stuff like that. We don't want to be spending slots on Bold Chieftains and missing out on like pretty, you know, beefy damage multipliers because of it. So yeah, that was kind of the solution. Was it seemed like I was having enough crit out of Paragon and everything. Like right now in this video, I'm like, I don't have the second crit one on, but I still have like 142% crit damage, because once you get your runes and glyphs up, it'll give you access to a lot of crit damage, so you just don't need to put all that much crit on your gear in order to be able to get your Beastmasters up there. But yeah, anyways guys, that's going to do it for this video. That's the update. Build's doing great. It's crushing. Having a lot of fun with it. So definitely something you should try out if you would like. But anyways guys, thanks for watching. Like, subscribe to see more, and I'll see you next time. Thanks.